Okay, this is a video on how using if statements work in a C++ program. This is just a Win32 Console Application in Visual Studio. I won't get too complicated into some of the conditional statements that you can get into, but this will just show you how typical if statements work. So first things first, you can see I already created a new project here in my application, and I already included my IO stream and my namespace. Those two are just allow us, for our purpose and understanding, just allow us to read and write to the console. So we're just going to go ahead and talk a little bit really quick about Boolean expressions. And Boolean is a true or false expression. And basically, it's only those two states, either true or false. And you can do other things too. You can do comparisons, like if a number, like if 0 is less than 3, if that statement is true, then do something. And so for our sake, we'll do a couple expressions. I'm going to say I'm just going to say, for right now, I'm going to say if true, and then I'm going to say cout, our two less than signs. This is a true statement. End line. Okay. I'm going to say if false, cout, this is a false statement. End line. And that's just what I'm going to say right now. Right now I'm just going to, these are what's called Boolean expressions, true and false. They're literal expressions, literal values for these if statements. And let's just run this and see what happens here. So right now we're saying if true, do this, if false, do this. And it's gonna do whatever I want it to do in between these two curly braces here. So just hit Control F5 for run the program without debugging. It takes a second to run. It's the first time. Sorry about that. And there we go. This is a true statement. So it printed out the first one, but it didn't print out the second one. Why is that? Well, because the second statement is false. This statement it will not perform false statements, which you'll see later on. Kind of is goofy to really think about, but in the same sense, not really, because it's not going to do something that's false. It's not going to do a bad or wrong statement. It's only going to do the right and true statement, if you want to think about it that way. So only printed out that one. So, but what if I switched them? What if I said false and true? Right now what happens? This is a false statement. See, now it printed out the false statement, even though it's technically the true one. It printed out that statement, but it didn't print out the false statement. So it's kind of those are just two basic ways to use it. But now let's do something really quick. I'm gonna make some what are called comparisons here. I'm gonna say if 0 is less than 3. Say this is a true I'm just going to keep that for right now. I'm going to say this is a true statement. So if 0 is less than 3, if this is true, if 0 truly is less than 3, I want you to print out this is a true statement. If 3 is less than 0, I want you to print out this is a false statement. I guess that's a little bit confusing. That's okay. So yeah, so we have if 3 is less than 0, print out this. If 0 is less than 3, print out this. And just kind of by our basic logic already looking at this, we can say, well, 3 isn't really less than 0. 3 is greater than 0, so this will be false. And 0 is truly less than 3. We can clearly think about that. So it should print out this one, and it should not print out this one. And it did exactly what we expected. So, right, it said this is a true statement, and it printed out the true value, right? This is true because this is true, but this is false. So it makes perfect sense. And this is what's called comparators. We are comparing two values to see, and you can do so much with these. It's crazy how complicated you can see some of these if statements, but later on. So, and let's see. Let's also do if 0 is equal to 3. And equal is used by two equal signs, equality value. So you can see 0 is equal, two equal signs is equal to 3. And I'm going to say if 3 is not equal to 0, and not being described by this exclamation mark here. You say not equal, right? So exclamation mark means the not. Equal just means equal. So literal phrase is not equal, and this just means it's equal. So looking at this, 3 is not equal should be true, so it should print out this is a false statement for this one, and 0 is equal to 3, well this is a false statement, so it should not print out this. So let's see what it does here. And again, did what we wanted to, what we expected, so yep, so this is a false statement. This is a false statement. So it did not print that out. So these are just kind of a couple really simple, easy ways to do this. I mean, you can do a lot more, so we can also introduce other characteristics. So let's say if I'm just going to say, go back to our literal terms here, true and false. I'm going to say if true or false, do this. And I'm going to say if true and false, do this. Okay, so these are two other parts of an if statement, and this is what's called an or statement, and this is what's called an and statement. The and one is a little bit easier because you use the and sign. So it's two and signs together. It means true and false. So it has to meet both of these conditions. And this if statement here has to meet one of these conditions. So it has to either be true or, so in this case it's saying if true or false. So in this case it's going to meet this condition because this part is true. So it's expecting one of these to be true. It's expecting this to be true or this to be true. And since this one is, it's going to print this out. And in this case, it's expecting this statement here to be true and this statement here to be true. However, this statement is true and this statement is false, so it should not print this one out, but it should print this one out. So let's see right there. So, and it printed out the first statement, it printed out this one, but it did not print out this one. And why is that? Once again, because it's an or statement. It's expecting one answer to be true or the other answer to be true. You can also think it's kind of funny. You can get really complex at these. But what if I just said true or true or true? If they're both true, it still prints it out anyways. It didn't care, right? It got to the true statement. It said, "Oh well, you're both true. It doesn't matter to me." But the first one is true, so. Right, so, and even if I change this one to false, right, it should still do it, right? It should still print true, which it does. This is a true statement, so we can see that here. So those are just kind of some really basic ways to use if statements and think about how they really work. We can also do a couple other things. Actually, I'll do it in the next video because this is getting a little lengthy. So that's the end of this video.